Yo, 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 yo. What is up? How's it going, everyone? Um, it is Friday, May 29th. For some reason, my stream deck is not working, even though it's very much plugged in. How are you guys? What's up, Art Nerd? What's up, DJ Duck? What's up, Anthony? I've been waking up every day these last 7 days.
Subscribe.
Yo. What's up, Estion? Thank you for the sub. Wait or more tears, please. Haywyre, we'll stop streaming soon. No, it's not a permanent thing, but it was a long time coming. It was a full year of very regular streams, and I loved it. I hope you guys enjoyed it too, but all good things must come to an end, as they say. Yo, I'm not gonna lie, I feel I'm struggling a little bit today. I feel like I'm hungover even though I'm not. Like I feel like my brain is very much not in a refreshed state, but I think we'll get there slowly. We'll start slow. What's up, We the Valiant? Restart the software. I did do that. For some reason, that didn't do anything. But it's okay. I feel like it just acts up a little bit sometimes. Oh, wait. It is working now. Nice. The bug has been going around. Yeah, I don't know if it's that or if I'm just like running on fumes at the moment. It's kind of amazing. Like, I think I would love to learn how to manage stress better. I feel like is stress like management one of those things where like gradual increased exposure is like a good strategy where it's like, you need to find the mental capacity to just like deal with things, and you teach yourself to do that as you are gradually introducing more stuff, or like I don't know. How do you guys manage your stress? I'm kind of curious. Before we get into Feedback Fridays, what do you guys do? Healthy things, not like binge eating. Gaming is actually not bad because like gaming can be very like intellectually stimulating. Listen to your music. Oh, nice. Thank you. What's up, Junie? What's up, Mattism? What's up, Cindy? I love to take photo walks. That's a cool one. I like that. Walk around town and snap some photos. I like that. See, I feel like when I'm stressed, I tend to focus on activities that really lower my heart rate a lot. So maybe I'll watch like some tennis highlight videos. Like right now, Roland Garros is happening, and so the last couple of days when I have like a few minutes of free time, I'm like, oh yeah, let me watch some tennis. But I don't know how good of a job that actually does at calming my system down. I feel like it's more of like a distraction. I'm not sure. I feel like there's better things to do than that. I multitask quite a lot, so I should be doing something that de-stresses. Boredom is like fasting. Yeah, boredom for sure, especially in today's day and age. We're constantly being bombarded with dopaminergic activities. Watch this, eat this, listen to this, buy this. Whoa, did you hear this? This thing's crazy. Look at this headline. Oh my god. And yeah, so you're right. I think like 99% of the evolution and existence of Homo sapiens, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have the ability to just like, look at devices and be entertained at a moment's notice. And yeah, I think we're still understanding what the ramifications are of all these being surrounded by all these um, technologies and like, yeah. Anyways, I also don't have social media. See, I would be in that boat with you. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's a big reason why I haven't been active on social media or less. I've been. I mean, let's be real. I've basically not used social media for like for years now. And it's a part of my career, though. It's for an independent artist. I mean, honestly, even if you're signed, it's like using your social media is kind of a prerequisite. Um, it's a requirement, rather. Mm. Taking a little day trip this weekend. Nice. Let's go. Yeah. Well. Yeah. Gotta say. Um. I am pretty excited though for next week. Got the wedding coming up, and then I'll be able to lock back into album stuff. I'm really excited to kind of like get my hands dirty and really figure things out. Figure out what the next steps are for Haywyre, but yeah, been social media free since 2015. Wow. Yeah, you remind me of my dad. He's been free of social media for a long time as well, and I totally understand it. I would love to make that commitment, but I think like if my career was in a different industry, that would for sure be the case for me. Like I don't know. Like something that doesn't require social media, I would absolutely not have it. Um but but yeah, you got to every now and then you got to try to poke the people that follow you and be like, "Hey, don't forget about me, please." And that's what I kind of hate about it, to be honest. It's like, man, I don't like being someone that's I actually don't really love like attention. Obviously, naturally feels good to human beings. Like it's nice, but I like I like the feeling of just being in the background somewhere, just like doing my thing, and if people like that, then that's great. But I don't want to be like shouting at the top of my lungs, like, "Look at me, look at this." Like that's the opposite of what I want. Just let me sit in the back of the room and make some fun sounds, and if you like it, then you like it. But yeah, I mean, obviously, like, uh, um, the I don't like in the social media analogy, um, I could still be posting more often in a way that's not annoying. Martin, look at this. My wife has social media and will tell me what I really need to know. Yeah, I mean, um, I think one of the alarming things about social media is how much it's evolved and how it still feels really unregulated. What's up, Mattism? Um, Appreciate the bits. Did you know what? Um, but it feels really unregulated because like one of the things that blows my mind, for example, like think about uh the parameters involved uh in create the the parameters involved in a video that is really engaging, and like the bottom line, let's say if you're someone that really wants to make something that is going to just specifically be optimized for viewership, I mean, it's not that difficult to do that, but you can kind of lie as much as you want. You can do anything you want as long as it gathers attention on social media, right? I mean, um, not that there aren't repercussions for that necessarily, but like it's just kind of weird because one thing that this is super random, and we'll get to Feedback Fridays in just a second here. I don't know why I'm ranting about this, but the other day, like some someone that looked like a nurse came up on my TikTok and was like talking about health, uh, you know, random things to consider for, everyday health or something like that. And I'm like, well, this person looks the part, but I have no idea who this is. And like, why am I getting a, health recommendations from someone that I don't even know is real? That is just like telling me to like, I don't know. It's just kind of bizarre. Like anybody can say anything and do anything. And I think it's having a really negative impact, if I had to guess, on the quality of people's lives. Cause it's like, I mean, it should kind of be regulated a bit more. At the same time, obviously, like I'm not dumb enough to just like, I'm a pretty skeptical person, or I try to be at least. So it's not like I'm just listening to strangers' advice on the internet about what to do with my diet or whatever. But anyways, okay, enough about that. Do you guys know that aspartame is bad? Yes, I know. That's kind of a funny example about one of those health debates. But anyways, okay. Let's see. Who are we starting with today? We have about 7 entries here. Or 8, it looks like. And I love spreading misinformation. How dare you? All right, let's choose our first winner. Let's get Feedback Fridays started. What's up, Mattism? This one was rushed because I had to enter a battle royale with music. I don't think I know what you mean by that, but that's okay. All right. Are you guys able to hear this? Oh, Protostar's battle. Okay, I see. Chill vibe. Nice, man. Well, I actually think that when it comes to like from a mixing standpoint, this feels quite a bit better than some of your other submissions. Not to say that those were bad or something, but I just feel like you don't have as much of an issue with harshness in this mix. So it's a good starting point, and you have a nice little vibe going. The arrangement is solid. I like that little vocal chop. Maybe that's part of the Like maybe that's one of the sounds that was provided for the Battle Royale. And I also feel like your chord structures, your harmonies were a bit better. It kind of felt like everything was more in key this time around as well. So I'll applaud you on that. I think like that's one of the toughest things about giving feedback is, we obviously I don't think I know anyone in this stream personally, right? So it's not like I know exactly like how long have you been producing or like what's your background in music and all that kind of stuff. And I just like, it's hard to know how to meet people where they're at. But now that I've been listening to some of y'all's submissions for some time, it's easier for me to be like, oh, okay, well, this is kind of where I'm seeing some improvement and such. And I feel like it makes it easier for me to say like, hey, look, I think there's some stuff going on here that you're going in the right direction in. So yeah, I think like obviously I can get into other stuff as well. I think like there's room for maybe some more something more of a melodic motif, something that can I mean, as a pianist, like of course I'm always going to think about that. I feel like there's room for some kind of melody somewhere, the recurring one. So that's a thought. I think that there's like a little noise layer, the clap snare noise layer here. That one right there. That one's a bit harsh. There's something going on in that like upper mid range or high end that's a bit too much. But yeah, I mean, those are more specific details that I feel like, that's like, I feel like you're kind of moving up the pyramid, if you know what I mean. If you imagine like, I don't know if any of y'all were raised on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I feel like that's pretty outdated at this point, or very outdated. But like, I think when it comes to like, music production, I don't know exactly how I would arrange it. But like, obviously basics are at the bottom, production, composition, I don't know, arrangement, whatever. Maybe some like aural skills, music theory kind of stuff, or maybe music theory is a little bit higher up. But those are all foundational things. And I feel like the more I'm focused on details, the more it means you've kind of like moved up a bit on that ladder or that pyramid, however you want to visualize it. So I feel like that's a good sign if I'm like, if I'm focusing more on details, like, oh, this sound here in this particular moment could, be mixed a little bit differently, then I think that's a good sign. Not that I'm somehow the authority for determining where you're at in your, music journey or anything like that. But anyways, just some food for thought. I feel like you could expand on this, and it looks like I'm seeing some improvements. So thank you for sharing. Intro Psych 101. All right, what's up, DJ Duck? What you got for us? Welcome, Perillion. What's up, Tangy Cat? We got lots of regulars here today. And by the way, I should probably say this briefly, but just a reminder, season 4 is ending tomorrow. So I'll be taking a bit of a break, switching to a pretty irregular, occasional streaming schedule. So I committed to the year of regular streaming, and I did that, and it's been a pleasure. And I'll be doing, Feeeeedback Fridays today until, hopefully until we're just out of tracks to give feedback on. But just wanted to throw that out there again so people aren't surprised next week when I I'm not streaming as much. But yeah, okay. Back to scheduled programming. Let's check out what we got here. All right. Samurai by Duck.
Well then, somebody better tell them. I thought I told them. Beat them and scold them. Wise up youth. Don't size up youth. Walk and live. Talk and bumble like dead. You know see no boy we address. Beat your chest like you a tough guy. Till you buck up in a. So me tell them all of the while. Trying to run up, you know want to decide. Bad fly in the dark of the night. Can't pardon the style. Man I born samurai.
I'm away, looking like I'm tripping while I'm driving in my car. Life is on the way, no I've been waiting too much. Dropping everything, no I don't care if you care. Yeah. I'm away, I go on and I've been waiting too long. Told you years ago and now I'm on my road. I don't run from nothing, tell them I'll lay low.
All right, where we're going?
Yeah. Somebody tell them. Not mine. Walk and live. Talk and bumble like dead. You see no boy we address. Beat your chest like you a tough guy. And I buck up in a. So me tell them all of the while. Trying to run up, you know want to decide. Bad fly in the dark of the night. Can't pardon the style. Man I born samurai. Buck up in a samurai. Them shoulda know. Yeah. Somebody tell them. Born samurai.
Sick. I love it. Cool. So sounds like some of the vocal material is from another track. I don't know. I was just looking at the chat. I think that that's kind of. I was gonna ask where the vocals are from since I'm not seeing anything in the title, but that makes sense. So, I think you got a bit of a banger on your hands here, my friend. It's a really cool tune. Arrangement is good, sound design is good. Lots of good energy. I would listen to this in the gym. I think that
Walk and live. Talk and
it's a remix. Samurai by Simons. Oh, dude, I was tripping for a sec because I was like, I recognized this. I actually thought that this was a newer version of something you had already submitted previously, but no, Simons submitted this track on a previous Feeeeedback Friday. I was like, that tripped me out for a sec. Okay, that makes sense. Cool. Yeah, Simons is super talented as well. And you did this. I think you did the original justice. It's a cool flip.
live. Talk and bumble like dead. You know see no boy we address. Beat your chest like you a tough guy. Till you buck up in a. So me test like you a tough guy.
small little detail here. I think like high level, I already mentioned like things are working quite well. Everything's arrangement is great, sound design is good, mix is sounding good. Overall, this is a small little detail, but I'm hearing that little horn stab moves up to the A flat here, but your sub is still playing the E flat.
It's like you a tough guy.
And then the sub or whatever that bass sound is switching with the horn stab up to the B. I would just try to keep those consistent. Like the horn stabs are clearly there to kind of like emphasize certain downbeats of that low end. So just double check and make sure that those are hitting the same notes in the same same octaves as well, obviously.
I'm away, looking like I'm tripping while I'm driving in my car. Life is on the way, no, I've been waiting too much.
I like this fill here for the second drop. I'm a sucker for those kind of like fake outs for second drops.
Not mine. Walk on live. Talk on bumble clock dead. No boy react. Beat their chest like you a tough guy. Some tell them all of the while. Trying to run up, you know what to decide.
You know, one thing I have been thinking about recently with EDM too is in terms of like mixing and mastering. I think one of the hardest things to watch out for, because there's a lot of really good stuff happening in this track, so I feel like I can try to maybe approach some feedback here from a slightly different perspective. Obviously, like, you knew what to do with the vocals here and with the sound design, mixing, arrangement, all that. I think like things are quite solid here. So like I feel like it's okay to jump to something else. I think like for like a final mix master kind of line of thinking. I mean, I've always struggled with that kind of stuff because I'm not always trying to mix and master something to kind of like fit neatly into the EDM space. I feel like, but that being said, it's not like all EDM is mix and mastered the same way. There's a wide variety. I think like I definitely have a preference for what I lean to, but the reason that I wanted to address this briefly is that like, one thing that's kind of hard to get right is knowing how much low end and low mids to have in your mix for EDM, because like obviously a lot of the energy comes from the impact of that sub, for sure. But the weird thing is that like something I noticed recently when doing like reference mixing is that the assumption, I think a lot of electronic music that has like a bit of a higher level of production than other electronic music, I feel like it's mixed and mastered in a way where it's kind of understanding and assuming, oh, well, this is going to be blasted on a system where the low end is amplified so much that it's better to kind of like not have it be too loud to begin with. And maybe the bigger bottom line is like, consistency within your own catalog. Like there's a really good argument for that as well, where like, for example, I'm not throwing, this is not a diss for Monster Cat or anything like that, but I remember like when I was finishing Chromatically, I think someone from Monster Cat A&R was like, oh, hold on, aren't your tracks normally in this like luff range? And for a moment I was like, I don't know, do luffs really matter to me in my music? And in a way, no, but in a sense it's like, well, I want there to be consistency in my catalog from a mixing and mastering perspective for sure. And my music has gotten louder over time. I think like a lot of my first few releases when I was like 16, 17, 18, like I don't know anything about music production back then, and so my music has probably gradually become louder. But over the last like, I don't know, 9 years, 10 years, that I think like there's a level of consistency there. It could definitely be better, but those are just some things I wanted to throw at you. I wanted to bring it up briefly because like part of me wonders whether some of the low mids are like a little bit too much. I feel like I notice it with certain patches, maybe more so. So it's a pretty subtle thing. But yeah, I think like the art of like, that final mix master is a really challenging but extremely important aspect of the musical experience. I mean, I'm somebody that like I'll for sure always take like cool ideas over, what's the word, like over like a polished turd, right? Like, just because you have like a really polished mix doesn't inherently mean like, oh, this is so pleasing to listen to. Like, no, there needs to be obviously the content, the character is what matters the most. I'll take, a terrible sounding mix with like the coolest, most interesting sound design or like just the most fun vibe imaginable over like, something that's polished and boring. And I think most people feel that way probably. But yeah, anyways, just some food for thought. Just wanted to throw that out there. I've been struggling with my mixes and someone helped me with this one. Okay, word. Well, I mean, I could tell it felt quite polished. Again, like it really depends on your goals, your what are your reference points, and like what are the things that you notice work well for you, because I mean that could change a lot over time. Like I feel like in the past I've always like I remember like 10 years ago or so, like 15 maybe more so, it's like I always thought that I felt really drawn towards like the loudest mixes, and I think that even though I think loudness is important, I've definitely gravitated towards like clean production, where like all the elements are exactly or like feel like they're exactly where they should be. Anyways, I'm kind of rambling here, so let's move on to the next person. But thank you for sharing. And the horn stab and sub is one sample? That's weird. They sound like they're playing different notes. Yeah, that's odd. They definitely sound like they're playing different notes. But either way, let's move on to the next person. Thanks for sharing that tune. It's a really sick tune, man. We the Valiant, what's going on? What you got for us? I don't know why Nightbot blasted you twice. Like, I feel like for me, that Quest for Fire album from Skrillex set the bar pretty high for that to me a lot of the songs from that album are like the ideal mix master for bass music. There's a lot of other tracks too. I feel like there's like some Of the Tree stuff and like and I was talking about like that Flava D track, Energy, that's got like that one's sick too. But man, that album by Skrillex is like it's so nice. I don't even know how to explain it better than that. Okay. Onward in Faith. Let's check this out. Knock 2 is someone who I really admire for like the energy and creativity. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not like to me like that's a different style of mix sound, right? I think I really love the other styles of mix sounds a bit more. Very peaceful. I like it. Yeah, Space Laces is crazy. I definitely like his... I think he has some of the most interesting and fun bass music out there. His mixdowns are very unique, but I actually don't like them as much as the Quest for Fire album, for example. Ooh. I like the guitar. All right, where are you taking us? Drolo is sick too, yeah. Okay, got a little bit of a switch up here. Very cool. It's a nice idea. So you said it's an intro to an album, I believe. To collab with me and my brother, a friend playing the guitar. Nice. Yeah. It's a cool piece. And I like that it just continues to gradually evolve. I think that maybe this is like my EDM brain saying this, but I definitely wouldn't mind this being kind of pushed in volume a little bit more. I know that this is probably a render without a limiter or something on the master, which is totally fine. But you know, the way that whenever I throw a limiter on a track, I always know I have to basically remix like the entire tune again to adjust for how the limiting is affecting the track. I did start experimenting with clippers more, so I don't know. Maybe that's something I'll incorporate more into my mastering workflow in the future. I don't know anything about mastering really, but I would be curious to see how things translate if it's being pushed a little bit. But yeah, I think like overall, it's a good tune. I feel like there's maybe a little bit of room for some embellishment and a little more attention to detail, you know, random little things. I think that it feels like you're at a stage in the track where, you know, this is what the song is, right? It's kind of like this 4-minute, fairly gentle, relaxing, but evolving kind of feeling, setting everything up for the rest of the album. And so that's kind of defined to me. It feels like, you know, from arrangement, composition, instrumentation standpoint, everything's kind of there. So I would just kind of dive deeper, do a little bit more, and like pay a little more attention to the little things, the details. What are some sounds that feel like maybe they could use a little TLC. I'll give you a random example here. This guitar that's doing the power chords at the end. It's very mono, and I feel like for the intensity of this moment, you could totally try to widen it. There's that the free widen plugin by Polyverse. Like you could slap that on there and see how that works. And I would try to. I like it when power chords in kind of like bigger moments like this kind of feel like they're embracing your ears a little bit more. This is kind of just sitting very much in the center of the mix, so I feel like that could be nice. There's little things like that I feel like could take the track to, the next another level. I like the creative choice of switching things up here. One thing I will say, those cymbals are kind of bothering me a little bit because it sounds like they're on like an Ableton. If you were to have these in a drum rack, they'd be on the same choke where like one cymbal is muting the other as it's playing, which can be useful in some situations. But here, I feel like you are trying to emulate, a more natural drum tone. I feel like each hit should be kind of like ringing out more instead of stopping. Like that crash cymbal is fine. That thing, it hits and then decays. They do sound a little bit kind of like static. But yeah, obviously I'm nitpicking. I think that I'm just trying to give some examples on how to kind of dive a little bit deeper and inject even more more oomph into some of these layers. But yeah, I definitely think that if you're starting to worry about details, obviously you're pretty far along in the process of making a song. So yeah, thanks for sharing. It's a cool tune, and hope you enjoy finishing it. Let's move on to the next person. What's up, Elijah? Appreciate the feedback. Of course. All right, what do we got here? Inside My Mind. Nice. It's a cool tune. I remember, I think from a couple weeks ago or something like that, you had shared a track as well, and I recognize your kind of like your writing style and your voice as well, for sure. Yeah, it's a cool tune. I don't listen to a ton of rock, so take my opinions with a grain of salt here. I actually think the production, the mix and stuff, it feels like it is very convincing. I don't know if you're my guess is you're kind of like a one man band like a lot of us are these days. And yeah, I think you're doing a good job. I think that my biggest gripe is still, it's actually something I remember from your last submission as well. Like, lots of stuff is working really well. The writing, the production, etc., and the mixing too. I feel like it makes sense to me. Like, it definitely sounds quite convincing. For me, it's your verse vocals are falling short a little bit compared to the rest of the song. The rest of the track, it feels very much on par with what you'd expect from a a professional rock track, in my opinion, or whatever the genre is. I don't know, but like, let's say for example your vocals here in this section, like the chorus. That feels much more convincing to me. I feel like, I don't know if it's that more if I don't know if it's the vocal range or if it's kind of like the more sustained, like held pitch notes or something like that, that suits your voice well, or I'm not sure, but it could also be a processing thing. But your voice here sounds great. It's really the verses that I feel like I tend to have more my instincts telling me like, this might need a little bit more work. Now again, like, I feel like vocals in EDM tend to play a very different role, and like, obviously there's a lot of different ways to incorporate vocals in your music, and if you do have vocals in your music, it's not like they need to be perfectly tuned or performed. And so there is like there is something to be said about like appreciating kind of like just like the humanness in a vocal. But I still feel like the performance here should be a little bit tighter.
Wait, I'm not a saint. The memories of past come far away. Take my heart today, throwing it away. I don't wanna be wasted.
I'm not just thinking about like the pitches, but maybe a little bit articulation as well. A lot of it is fine, but I think it's those first few words are, I think, my.
Wait, I'm not a saint.
I would encourage you to, one, maybe do a take where, try to do some takes where the timing is a bit more on the grid. Bum, boom, ba-da-bum. And then, maybe the pitch movements are a little bit more accurate. I'm also trying to think about like the processing. It is feeling a little bit like a mid-pass EQ, and it's got like a little bit of that like that telephone EQ vibe going right now, which is not inherently a bad thing. It's definitely like a choice. I wonder though, part of me wonders whether this would sound better if the EQ in the vocal left more room for the rest of the spectrum to kind of pop through, like some of those lower mids and some of the just like those other frequencies. I wonder, maybe might be nice to have those in there. But really, I mean, that's kind of like the biggest pain point for me in the track. And outside of that, cool. It's a really cool tune, and I like this random switch up at the end. It definitely, I think it's a nice little switch up. So, thanks for sharing. Just made a short demo. Nice. All right, y'all. Let's move on to the next person. Appreciate you sharing that tune. Let's see what else we got. What's up, Seclass? Horror House Rave. What is this? Oh, looks like you need to share a private link. Cool, let's check this out. Yo, what's up? Thank you so much for the raid, Le Sondier. I know I still feel like I'm butchering your name every time. Just doing some Feeeeedback Fridays. Let's check out what you got. We gotta do follow-up. Yo, Dub3, thank you for the follow. Look at this cute kitty. Yo, Dr. MB, thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate it, Lasandier. Thanks again for the raid. Okay, definitely have a few thoughts to share, but let's keep things going. Also, I'm just going to quickly give everyone a reminder that's currently in the raffle. Let's switch over to the giveaway view. I see some regulars. All right. Honestly, 18 people is quite a bit. So I don't normally do this, but I might try to cut things off here so I can kind of skip towards giving some feedback. I think we got a feeling for the track so far with 3 minutes. Let's take a quick gander at this. Okay, got it. So it's still quite similar to what was happening earlier here. So, yeah, if I'm going to make it through 18 entries, I'm going to do my best, but I will need to stay conscious of the time. Yeah, I feel like I can tell you're kind of enjoying exploring, that four to the floor um vibe with I like this little minimal section here. You're playing around with that minor second, which is always kind of like always gives off that kind of like cool. It's a great interval, and it probably is the basis for like I don't know, probably like 60% of all house music plays around with that interval, or has like that plays a big part in the vast majority of house music. But anyways, it does feel a bit, I guess, plain, and I think that comes down to several things. I think maybe primarily sound design. I think that a lot of the character, and the uniqueness that brings so much joy to listening to house music. It's obviously not like, sure, most house music is 4/4, has very simple chord progressions, if any at all. There's all these limitations on house music. So what makes it more interesting are things like, sound design, mix down choices, or maybe a special vocal performance. Those kind of things are where I think house music can shine, and obviously like while making people dance. But there's all these kind of like factors that are already limiting it. So I think that that would be my feedback to you, is to try to inject a little more personal character and flavor, but also like care and attention into a lot of these sounds that are happening. I can see the vision, and I think the arrangement is cool. I think that, for example, transitioning out of this like kind of melodic minor second vibe and then going into this like darker industrial rave kind of thing, almost like a techno kind of feeling here. This cat is way too cute to be paired up with this vibe here. But anyways, I think that just more attention to detail, polishing, refining, and kind of like exploring things from those parameters that are generally available to house music. Like, you're not gonna, most house music tracks that are, the genre isn't known for having, crazy BPM switch ups or time signature changes, or you gotta do follow-up, or or for modulating into new keys. It's more about obviously catchiness and simplicity, but done in a tasteful way. And so I would just urge you to kind of dive deeper into kind of like your sound design, and maybe even throw out some reference tracks and see how yours stands up to tracks that really inspire you to make music like this. But either way, it feels like you're off to a really good start, and I think that what would take you to the next step for sure is probably some reference mixing, but also just some more kind of bringing your own flavor of sound design and instrumentation into the mix. But yeah, thank you so much for sharing. Appreciate it. And thank you, Osinge Music, for the follow. Much appreciated. What's up, Dub3? What you got for us? This is released today. Oh, snap. How dare you? So are you looking for feedback, or we'll just give you some impressions of what we're working with.
Darkness is an illusion of time. No shadow can defy the inevitable reckoning of the light. Nothing in the universe goes without consequence, neither in matter nor spirit. In the end, there will be justice. Suffering inflicted by evil will pale to the eternal torment they endure as punishment beyond death. Impunity does not exist in the afterlife. There is no escape from the gavel of God.
Cool. All right. So it's a cool tune. I can hear some influences if I had to guess. Definitely some Space Laces influence there, especially with kind of like that vocal style and processing. It reminds me a lot of Space Laces. And then some of the mixed down sound design stuff reminds me of VR, Virtual Riot for sure. Follow up. Thank you for the follow, Tactics. Yeah, it's a cool tune. I feel like it's I don't listen to a ton of dubstep, but I can always appreciate the energy and especially sound design. There's something fun happening from a sound design perspective. You got my attention. So there's some good stuff going on. I think that I'm trying to think about what to focus on for the feedback. There's a couple things. If I were to go through, maybe I'll approach it chronologically. I'm not like completely convinced on this transition from the build into the drop. I think that I'm not going to tell you what to do. Obviously, it's a release tune. And everybody does these things differently, but I feel like the pre-drop section it's a great opportunity to catch people a little off guard. Like you can get away with some stuff there that you normally couldn't. You can make things super simple, draw attention to like some really little, like specific little sounds. And I feel like it's a little bit of a missed opportunity to kind of just go bleed directly from the build straight into that downbeat. and there's some sounds kind of bleeding over into that, where normally part of the, I think sonically part of the impact of like a satisfying drop comes from contrast, right? You go from like these like this little vocal chop, bass sound design or some kind of fill, and then boom, the mix, like, pretty much immediately explodes, and you're just being hit in the face with a full spectrum of really aggressive sound design. That's hopefully really fun and unique and interesting. But yeah, so that's one thing that I noticed, is that like it feels a little bit like a missed opportunity. Like that could be a cool place to inject some of your kind of unique character. In terms of the mix down, I think like these kind of like more, I don't know exactly how to describe it. I feel like these kind of like very mid-heavy, obviously most dubstep is mid-heavy, but like something about the sound design and the drums and the mix reminds me a little bit of VR. Although I would say that VR is quite a bit more like polished, if that makes sense. So I think there's, for example, in your drums, there's some mids that you can kind of like tone back a little bit. There might be a little bit overkill in some of the mids. Thank you for the follow, Otemba style. But hey, again, take my opinion with a grain of salt here. I don't listen to dubstep day in and day out. So, yeah, so that's one thought I had, is that like there might be room for improvement in terms of some of the mix there. But outside of that, honestly, I don't know if there's much else that comes to mind. I like the little, kind of melodic section here. Another comment about the mix, now that I'm listening to it again, and I was making those comments about the mids. For dubstep, for music in general, the mids are like such an important frequency range, and you could probably find all sorts of interesting quotes and perspectives that different artists have on how they perceive the importance of the mids, the way that I'm hearing it when listening to your drops at the moment in this track, to me, the drums are definitely hitting quite a bit harder in the mid-range than, the presence of your bass sound design. And I think for this kind of dubstep, where that is like very, I don't know. I'm just going to say for this style of dubstep, I would say that you want them to be a bit more comparable. You want the bass to still feel like it has some weight and some presence in the mids, which it does, but there's a little bit of an imbalance there between the kick and, when the kick and snare kind of hit at the same time versus the bass sound design. But that being said, obviously I'm kind of nitpicking here. It's a cool tune, lots of great energy, lots of cool sound design. And yeah, I think there's just like some small little details and moments where there were maybe some slight missed opportunities, but either way, it's a really cool tune. And, I am a sucker for the Space Laces style vocal stuff. I mean, he's just like I don't really make dubstep at all. I don't know that I really ever have. Maybe I've attempted to and kind of utterly failed. We gotta do follow-up. And it's easy. It can be easy for people that maybe aren't familiar with production to kind of knock it. Because, sure, rhythmically it's very simple. Compositionally it's very simple. But, to create something that is, high energy, is like very and has like a unique flavor, working within those limitations and like having your own voice is really challenging, and that's why I think people look up to producers like, I don't know, like Space Laces, where, I mean, dude, you could just I think anyone worth their salt, any producer worth their salt, if you just play random Space Laces track, I mean, they would just know immediately that it's Space Laces, and that says a lot about like how far like your own unique creative flavor in that sound design and mix down kind of space goes. But anyways, thanks for sharing. Let's move on to the next track. Galaxy Tones. Oh, this is gonna be a switch up. Or switching the vibes up. Unless you suddenly decided you're gonna start making dubstep as well. Yeah, this is gonna be like a palate cleanser after some of the previous music. Here we go. Farewell, Mixdown, work in progress. Very nice. As expected. I think we've probably heard about 10 submissions of yours at this point over the last year. I think, right, Galaxy Tones? If I had to guess. Way too hard for me. Fourth? I feel like it's been way more than that, but maybe I'm tripping. Cool, man. Yeah. Your output is very, very consistent. It's very peaceful. It's ambient music, but the thing is, there's a lot of ambient music that just doesn't lean into any percussion at all. Yeah, I mean, whatever. Call it what you want. I can appreciate percussionless ambient music, and I definitely enjoy ambient music like this as well, where you have some kind of like gentle, halftime, almost garage-like things, like the rim shots and like the gentle little perks. Gives it just like a tiny bit more energy, and it gives it a different flavor than the percussionless vibe. But either way, it's really good. I was gonna say I can tell it's not mastered yet because it did sound a bit different than I feel like what some of your other pieces have sounded like in the past. So the final one. So it is interesting to hear it kind of like earlier in the pipeline. And yeah, man. I mean, there isn't really too much to say. I feel like the criteria for feedback with music like this is so vastly different, you know. I think it's a great piece of music. Nothing really stands out as being, you know, an issue in the experience of the track. So yeah, you know what? Actually, I'm going to repeat this track for the stream because I'm just gonna hit the bathroom super quickly. So I'll be right back. And we're just gonna let this play one more time. BRB. Good time to take my meds. All right. Thanks for your patience. All right, let's get back into it. Who do we got next? These days. What you got for us? Hey, weren't you wearing jeans just earlier? Yeah, I'm still wearing jeans. Yeah, Nightbot is going crazy. New to the stream, thanks for hosting. Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, Dropbox works fine. Welcome, welcome. Whole different person takes over stream. That would be pretty awesome. It's a great prank idea, actually. All right, what do we got? Very nice. Great way to end the song. All right. I like it a lot. Definitely got this kind of like progressive, minimal vibe. I really love the vocal chops. Not sure where they're from, but I'm kind of a sucker for like rap vocals on house music. Maybe. But yeah. Anyways, cool tune. I think that like maybe there's a few kind of things that I would do slightly differently if I were in your shoes. I think overall, the arrangement is good, the flow is good, and yeah, it's a super enjoyable piece of music. So that's like let's get that out of the way. I feel like I always should. I try to start with like general feedback first, and then kind of dive in deeper from there. But I think that for me, one of the choices that I can't get behind 100% is the kick drum choice and the way that it kind of like sits in the mix. So
We don't even need to pretend. We ain't like them. Never keep it real in the ends. Never leave crib with the ends. Me and that kid. We don't even need to pretend. Me and them boys, we ain't friends. We ain't like them. Never keep it real in the ends. Never leave crib with the ends. Me and that kid.
well, it's a kick drum. It gets the job done. But I personally feel like there's other types of kick drums that I would probably prefer, kind of like the presence they have. Like, it's a bit tough to get into more in detail with that kind of stuff. But that's one thing that kind of stood out to me a little bit. But back in the intro, before we've even heard any of the vocals, this is something that I noticed was. So I just wanted to give you a heads up as a listener. Here, I think hearing those kinds of vocals popping in, it feels obviously with progressive, like minimal house music and stuff like that. Small elements go a long way, right? And you're obviously in control of all of these elements, kind of weaving in and out of each other, and you're doing a great job of doing that. I will say, I think you're sharing almost too much of the vocal right off the bat here. So in the intro, we got this kind of like Ben Bomer type vibe going, right? But then we hear those vocals, and I'm telling you that there's a switch that happens once those vocals pop in. You're like, oh, all right, this is going a slightly different direction than I was expecting. So those two phrases are already more than enough to keep the momentum going. But then I think the vocals continue here. Or wait. Okay, you know what? It's not as much vocal as I was expecting. But I think that you could kind of squeeze like more tension out of it by maybe just reducing how much you're revealing this early on. So I think even just one little phrase is enough to kind of be like, this is, foreshadowing and kind of like introducing the element of that vocal. I don't know exactly what he's saying. Being like them. I feel like just that one phrase alone is already enough to carry you through like a couple measures or something, and then sprinkling them in here and there. It's a small thing, I get that. It's not some kind of glaring issue with the intro or something. But I just think you can kind of extract a little more value out of it. And you're already doing what I'm saying, because like once we get to this point, obviously there's like more of a full top line rap vocal happening at this point. So obviously the vocals being such a big part of the track here is giving you the feeling that like, oh yeah, I've arrived here, along with kind of like the build and kind of like the gradual kind of reduction in volume that we can see here. So, there's no confusion really about like where you're trying to take the listener. But yeah, I think that maybe just reducing that phrasing a little bit there could be kind of cool, a cool way to get even more value out of that. But what else we got? I think, if you're going to have a little breakdown section here with this piano, obviously as a pianist, part of me is wondering, like, ooh, is there some room for a little bit more to happen there? So you got the D flat, A, G flat. You just have like some kind of little motif in there. Or you could just keep it with the octaves down there. That's fine too.
Boys being friends.
But you see what I mean? Even just a few notes like that already add a little more intrigue to that section. So it doesn't have to be anything crazy, like, tons of jazzy extensions or whatever. But I'm going to think about stuff like that. And I hear the piano is obviously getting kind of like, it's starting to build here. I think some of the voicings there are maybe a little bit they could be improved a bit, but yeah. So again, I noticed that you're in control of all these different layers. You're paying attention to how to kind of like build them up, and when it's time for like a more gradual adjustment in a layer versus like a more instant switch up. So yeah, it's a cool tune, and I like it a lot. I think there's just like maybe a few small things I would change. Like I'm not crazy about the kick drum, not my favorite style of kick drum. And obviously in a song like this, that's a huge part of the song. I mean, we're listening to the same kick drum obviously for like 5 minutes. So the most important thing is if you like it, then perfect. I personally would probably end up going a slightly different route, but all good. And then the other thing, maybe a little bit more of a like melodic motif here in this breakdown section, and maybe playing with reducing the amount of vocal you're kind of foreshadowing here. It does work as is, but I feel like you could get even more value out of it by just reducing that phrasing a tiny bit. But yeah, anyways, thanks for sharing. Really appreciate it. Cool. Let's move on to the next person. Who else we got? With the piano section, this is giving me a lot of Solomon. Oh yeah, I could see that. What's up, Josta? What you got for us? Josta might be AFK, y'all. We'll come back to him later, most likely. Oh. Wait, signs of life. What progressions are you go-tos? I don't know. I mean, it just depends on the genre, the vibe. It really depends. Whoops, my bad.
If you want love, baby, tell me what's up, baby, let me inside your mind, 'cause I wanna hear what's on your mind, 'cause I wanna hear what's on your mind. Maybe we should take a road trip through the islands, fly across the seas to the islands. You deserve the finest. You deserve the finest. You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve the finest. You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve the finest. You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve the finest. You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve the finest.
Nice.
I know that you're out of this time or not, but I just wanted to say that I've been thinking of you. It's not you to me, this ain't how it's supposed to be. No. I know that I overthink, but you know the grass ain't always greener. Yeah, it's my fault that I've been thinking of you.
If you want, baby, tell me what's up, baby, let me inside your mind, 'cause I wanna hear what's on your mind, 'cause I wanna hear what's on your mind. You deserve the finest. You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve the finest. You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve the finest. You deserve it. You deserve the finest. You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve the finest. You deserve it.
Nice, man.
You deserve it. You deserve the finest. You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve the finest.
Very nice. I don't know where the vocal's from, so I can't really speak to that. But I like the track, man. Really great arrangement. One thing I do really appreciate about your production style too is you're somebody that likes kind of like having these little moments, like try to catch the listener off guard a little bit, have like these fun little edits and fills and things happening, and it's it's easy to overdo that kind of stuff too because it can be really fun. But I think you do a good job in this track of kind of like balancing the vocal forward pop friendly writing and focusing on kind of like the groove and the vibe, but still like making sure there's like little ear candy moments happening too, where you're kind of like trying to catch the listener off guard. But it's a really cool tune. Trying to think about feedback for you. I don't have much that comes to mind right off the bat. I'm not gonna lie.
What's on your mind? 'Cause I wanna hear what's on your mind. Finest. You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve the finest. You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve the finest.
So, listening to this again, I was the first impression I had when I was listening to it was like, okay, this is a cool kind of like minimal drop with that repeated vocal, and that's really cool. But sometimes with drops, it's worth asking. Well, obviously, like it depends on what kind of a drop, right? I mean, in something like this, if you're going like the more minimalistic route, which like obviously that's the direction this leans. You have like just the kick drum. There's no snare. There's no cymbals. It's just kind of like the kick drum, the chords, the vocals, and then you have that kind of like distorted, screechy synth, which is really cool in the background as well. But I just had this thought that like as cool as that like kind of screechy synth melody, the distorted sound that's kind of like playing that melody up top, I do think that it detracts, it takes away attention that the listener probably should be giving to the vocal. I think that the bottom line is, considering how big of a part the vocal is in this track, if you're going to have a moment like this, it makes sense to highlight that vocal riff as much as possible. So like a part of me is thinking, what would this sound like without that screechy synth? Or at the very least, if you're going to have, so for example, on that first downbeat, I like the sound that it has on that downbeat because it adds some harmonic richness to the chord on that downbeat. It's really nice. But then once it starts competing kind of with the vocal in the mid-range and such, it starts kind of it's doing its own thing, right? It's not like it's kind of like doubling the vocal, or it's not like it's just playing a few notes. It's kind of riffing the whole time. So yeah, that'd be my kind of challenge to you, is to think a bit more about like this from the listener's perspective, and whether you think that this is what you yeah, hey, you guys know the drill. I feel like at least once every Feedback Fridays I always say this, but like, listen, this is not, it's music, we all get to have our own opinions. We all get to make whatever we want. That's the beautiful thing about it, right? It's like, I'm not going to sit here and tell you XYZ is guaranteed to make your track better because this is your tune. But yeah, I mean, these are just my considerations. This is what I would do. Boom. Just thinking about those chords. Yo, thank you for the follow, Jamma. Another consideration is that like maybe on the downbeats, maybe on the first downbeat, the chords, that screechy synth stays as present as it is, and then right before the vocals pop in, they kind of get a bit more low passed. And then they pop back up on those occasional downbeats or something like that. But yeah, just some food for thought there. And the thing is, too, if you then bring the synth out more in a section like over here, it's a really great melody, by the way. So like, I feel like it'll help it shine more if it has its moment versus like if it's just kind of like playing that entire time. So it's basically playing from 048 to 118, and that's kind of the entire section where the vocals are kind of like the main thing. So I don't know, it's just some food for thought, but it's a really well produced tune. I think it's got a great vibe, so appreciate you sharing it. What snack did you get from the kitchen, by the way? I'm curious now. All right, we're on to the next one. What's up? I have no weak sleep. What's going on? Fried cheese balls? Are you saying cheese curds? Like, I've never heard somebody call them fried cheese balls. I'm from Wisconsin, so cheese curds are a big thing here. I can't have any. I'm lactose intolerant. Mega sad. Damn. You know, I do really appreciate it when you guys keep me informed of your dietary restrictions, just on the off chance that, you know, we have a big dinner party together someday. And, you know, because then I'll know what not to make for dinner. Okay, looks like I have no weak sleep, maybe AFK gang. We might have to move on. I'm a sucker for enchiladas. Yo, my fiance makes great enchiladas. Okay. All right, let's move on past this submission. What's up, Hoodie Music? What you got for us? Got some heat, of course. That's what I like to hear. That is... What is going on here? Yo, 17B11, thank you for the follow. Okay. Nice, man. It's a cool tune. I think you got a lot of good stuff going on. The arrangement makes a lot of sense. I think there's some cool sound design going on. And I like the A/B drop pattern. Kind of gives me a little bit of a Knock 2 vibe in some ways, but I like it. I think you're you got a good track here so far. So I'm trying to think about where to start with some feedback thoughts. First things first, let's just do it chronologically. I think that I love it when tracks start with percussion right off the bat. But there is a danger in doing that because you have to be careful not to give away too much energy right off the bat. So the drums here sound almost identical to the drums at the drop. And obviously the bass sound design is different. But I would try to find a way to tame these intro drums and kind of differentiate them a little bit from the drop drums. Otherwise, you're kind of giving away some of that impact, in my opinion, a little bit too early. So that could look like, for example, it could make sense to like duplicate that kick drum, for example, and there's that kind of distorted hat noise layer that's kind of like happening after the transient and the body and stuff, and it's kind of sitting in that that high mid range, and that could be shortened. You could try to duck some of the mids for the intro kick, not a lot, but honestly, even just subtle changes could amount to a big enough difference. It's a delicate balance, right? Because you don't want the intro drums, you want them to hit hard right off the bat, and I get that that's what you're going for. But there's balance there for sure. I think that you can do some subtle tweaks there, and it'll go a long way for preserving some of the impact in your drop. So. So I was trying to think about how I felt about, this, it's essentially like a fake out second build here. And this happens twice in the track. So you have this build, and then you have this vocal, chop here. And, for all intents and purposes, you could start the drop there. But obviously this is kind of like a fake out, and then you have an additional build here. The problem that I have with this in its current form is that if you're going to fake people out of a drop after implying that like that's what's coming here, I think you need to have something that that still hits pretty hard. Like the momentum still needs to be carried forward, and it feels like you're low passing these bass sounds too much for that to be the case. So you're kind of teasing the listener during the build, and you're saying like, building all this tension, and then you have this vocal chop, and then it feels a bit underwhelming. Obviously that's part of the point, is like it's a fake out. So like you're trying to subvert people's expectations. You're saying like, oh, you thought the drop was gonna happen here. No, we're actually building again. And that's fine. That's cool. But I do think you need to have something there that warrants, from the listener's perspective, that that playing with the expectations. So I think you should try to open up the sound design a bit here. And on top of that, maybe consider like maybe some kind of like clap or something like that to keep things going. Just for the second half of that section, maybe. And then anyways, okay, so then we move on to the drop. I really like the drums, by the way. I think they're really cool. So for this section, my biggest gripe is actually more so in the fact that there's no offbeat hi-hats or anything. So the thing is, back to the double build, right? You have a build, you're building all this tension, you're saying, oh, something's coming. Okay, fake out. Second build. Okay, something's coming, and then drop. So at that point, when the drop hits, it feels like that's your moment to throw, everything that the track has to offer. Like you've built, everything has been building up to this point, and for there not to be some symbol or some sound kind of carrying that offbeat energy feels like a really big missed opportunity for carrying momentum forward. Like having it versus not having some kind of offbeat hi-hat there or offbeat cymbal or some kind of sound there that fills that has that presence and that frequency range. I think it's just lacking too much momentum. It's such a small thing, but it'll make a huge difference in my opinion. And obviously, like, Mord Fustang and like that kind of music, it doesn't have to be a hi-hat. It could be like a little sound effect. It could be some weird little like laser, like Fustang. I feel like a lot of that style of like 4 to the floor, it's got like he always does stuff like this, like the hold on. Just random stuff like that. Like obviously just like add a bunch of effects and randomness to it. But you could do things like that on the offbeats, but it needs something on the offbeats for sure to, I think, otherwise the momentum, I think, doesn't quite translate. I do hear a really small, really quiet hat on occasion, so it's possible that what you have is just getting lost in the mix. So it's really important for something like that to be very audible. Because the way that it's ultimately perceived is almost as if there isn't one. But yeah, anyways, I think that's like my biggest bit of feedback. And then I don't know. The same feedback I had for that first kind of like quote unquote double build applies here as well. I feel like it shouldn't be low pass. It should be like, out in the open, really in your face. And so like, it's a fun way to show off your sound design too and be like, all right, listen to this. And it's just fucking loud ass bass noises. And that's great. There's no reason to kind of like hide it at that point. I think, you could still find ways to make sure that the impact is preserved on some level for the drop by, let's say, like, that could be a mixing choice you do towards like the mix master stage of your song where you say, okay, I'll dip some of those mids a bit and preserve some of that for when the drop actually hits. But yeah, anyways, just some food for thought. Appreciate you sharing. It's a really cool tune. Cool. Let's move on to the next person. Who else we got here? Damn, we got 20 people left still. There's a lot of people here today. What's up, Jamma Sound? Oh, I thought I had my piano armed. No way we're getting through everyone. Well, it depends. If we got a lot of AFK people, there's a chance it could take a little while. Or I mean, if there's a lot of AFK people, it won't take as long. But looks. Speaking of which, I think we have got another AFK person here. Some Mario Kart vibes going here. Okay, let's move on from Jamma Sound and see who else. What's up? Dude, I'm about to mispronounce your name again. Unlaser. Dude, I can never remember how to say it. I'm sorry. Wait a minute. Isn't this the beginning of the... Aren't these the course at the beginning of the Mario Kart race? Unlisa. There we go. Sounds like it. A melodic bass house track? I don't remember. Feel free to share it though. Jamma, it's my homie. He just got to work. Oh, okay. We'll hold on. I'll make sure to go back to that message after Unlisa. All right, let's check out what we got here.
I don't know what that is, that funny sound as it goes into the beat, you know, but I've learned by being in the business and being around recognizing people, they like things that's different sound.
Feel your stupid dream. I want to feel how you will be without me here. You are so real, but now I'm drowning. You won't find me, no, no.
Very cool.
Feel your stupid dream. I want to feel how you will be without me here. You are so real, but now I'm drowning. You won't find me, no, no, no. Feel your stupid dream. I want to feel how you will be without me here. You are so real, but now I'm drowning. You won't find me, no, no. Feel your stupid dream. I want to feel how you will be without me here. You are so real, but now I'm drowning. You won't find me, no, no, no.
It's me. I'm just calling to say I love you.
Nice. Water sounds. It's a really cool tune. It's got an interesting feel to it. Definitely got this like a little bit of a garage house thing going. And then that like halftime vibe switch here with like those more acoustic sounding drums is cool. Yeah, so it's a good listen. It's a good listen. Trying to think about like how to approach feedback here. It feels like you might just be a solid mix master away from a pretty polished tune. I think there's definitely room for a lot of small improvements from a mixing and mastering standpoint. Sometimes when I get to that stage in working on a song, I start hearing and seeing some things a little bit differently. You know, a lot of tracks are getting bounced to audio, and they're kind of committing to what the song is, and then it kind of can become, a fun stage in working on a track because, you're committed to what's there and what the track is, but you can make these little decisions that have a big impact on the song overall. You know, obviously in EDM, one big moment, it's obviously the drop, but like leading up to the drop is always an opportunity to try to grab the attention of the listener. And like, there's all sorts of ways to think about it, right? So for example, like you could play this track from your phone and hold it like a few feet away from you and play it kind of quietly. And then pay attention to like maybe like don't pay too close attention to it, like maybe like do something while you're listening to it, and then try to notice how much you feel that pre-drop thing is grabbing your attention. And I feel like little things like that can help give you signals and give you ideas on what you could try to give that track that extra like 0.1, 0.2, 0.3% of extra oomph to bring it to the finish like 100%, you know. I think those kind of small things can be hard to catch when you've been, you know, obviously creating something from scratch isn't easy. You know, you are responsible for like all these different decisions, you know, BPM, key, chord progression, sound design, sound, like instrumentation, drums, and all these different things that you're balancing and programming. So then when you get to the point where, you know, it feels like you have something that it resembles a song, and you're like, oh, this is sounding pretty good, it feels pretty convincing, it's hard to then have the perspective to put on that other set of hats where you're like looking at it from like, you want to try to experience it as kind of like a first time listener again, but that's impossible or pretty difficult to do when you've been spending a lot of time on a track already. So but that's what I feel like could help you with a track like this, get those extra percentage points and bring it to kind of like a completed vision. Like really most of the stuff I'm hearing is more, it's really just more mix related and master related versus like creative stuff. There's definitely a few little things like, you know, maybe trying to do something more attention grabbing before that first drop. Yeah, and like the vocal chop kind of going up in pitch there is interesting too. It kind of I think like traditionally you'd probably just have like that same vocal chop at the same pitch repeating. And it's kind of funny, right? Because like a lot of times as producers, you know, we can get bored with hearing things over and over again, even though we know that when the song is done, people are hearing all of that work at once. And it's such an interesting concept to me, like the trap of desensitization. It's a really real issue, I think, in this new era of one-man bands, you know, single people doing everything themselves, where you know, we get used to it's hard to lose, or it's easy to lose perspective on what you're working on because you're doing so many different things and you're listening to these same ideas over and over and over again. And yeah, so desensitization can be a big thing. But the reason I bring that up is because like I think that like that final stage for your track can kind of come down to a lot of like little micro decisions like that. And I think like a really good track at the end of the day, obviously there's a lot of different ways to categorize it. I mean, like, you could just say like, oh, something that made me feel something, or something that kind of had some sounds I'd never heard before, or you know, or something that, you know, got me hyped up for my workout, or, you know, there's all these different reasons to enjoy music and for something to be considered a good piece of music subjectively. But yeah, from a mix master perspective, it's accumulation of all these different smaller decisions coming together to create like a strong kind of like, yeah, sonic experience. And I think that I could picture, you know, a lot of those smaller decisions helping like to elevate this idea to like something very polished and completely finished. But yeah, just some food for thought. That's I think that's the best I can do. But anyways, I feel my personal biggest issue with the track is the kick. I wouldn't worry about that too much, to be honest. I think the kick is quite good. Especially for like this genre, I feel like that style of kick makes a lot of sense to me. But yeah, I mean, I would say just try to get the track to like that mix master stage, because once you have all these elements kind of like bounced and you have them kind of like an audio format, I feel like it's so much easier to see visually all these things happening. And like, it's nice to be able to see, for example, like waveforms changing. Like you see the amp, instead of like looking at MIDI, you're seeing like the amplitude of these volume changes, and you're like, oh, well, actually, I don't think I want it to increase that much percentage wise in volume, like this layer, or oh, actually, this crash cymbal lasts a bit too long into this drop, and I could probably shorten that a bit. Or there's all these like little things that you start noticing that will add up to a better finished piece. But yeah, anyways, let's move on to the next one. Thanks for sharing. What's up, Dr. MBL? Oh, wait. I missed, hold on. There is, the JAMA track as well. We'll get to you as well. MBL's AFK? Okay, perfect. Cool, let's check this out. Like This by JAMA.
Feel that? Believe me when I tell you, I like it like this. I like it like this. Yeah, I like it like this. this. I like it like this. I like it like this. Cash on my mind, yeah, I like it like this. Ice on my skin, yeah, I like it like this. All eyes on me, yeah, I like it like this. To say it again, I like it like this. I said I like
Oh,
it like this.
not this track? All right, I was
Ron
vibing
and
with
Chloe, they posted a Google Drive link later.
Okay. I do like that tune, though. I was enjoying that. Okay, Body Talk, Say Cross Jamma remix. Let's check this one out then. This track is a classic, and I think that this remix, guessing it's a bootleg, definitely does it justice. I have some thoughts on potential improvements here. Overall, it's really cool. It kind of gives me a little bit of it gives me a little bit of like a Of the Trees esque vibe, like that style of bass music, where there's kind of like a bit more breathing room. The emphasis isn't on kind of like having the entire spectrum constantly barraging your ears, and that's kind of the style of bass music I kind of enjoy a bit more personally. But let's take a quick listen to that drop again, because I did have some thoughts that came up there. So, one thing, the variation in the bass sound design is great. I think that that's important to be able to keep the intensity, the interest of the drop, kind of like the momentum, continuing that. I do feel that there's two things. I think from a mix standpoint, one, it would be nice if they were processed in a way where they felt like their presence is a bit more consistent in the mix. And that's something that's honestly really hard to pull off, because inherently different sound design is just going to have a different presence in a mix. But obviously with like careful multi-band compression and EQing, et cetera, you can kind of still make sure that those sounds have a similar presence, and that, you know, one bass patch doesn't have way more mid presence than another. I think there's like an acceptable range where it doesn't feel like they're too different, but they're similar enough. And right now I feel like some of those patches are a little bit too different, where it's like their presence is a bit too noticeable. And some of that is just a reality of having different bass patches, and it's better to do that than to just have literally the same sound just repeating over and over again. But that's one thought that I had. The other thing is that I'm not 100% convinced about that snare as a choice for the 2s and 4s in the drop. But that might be more of a stylistic thing. You know, I think that I would probably prefer, in this style of bass music, I would probably prefer some kind of like a rim shot. But yeah, that's kind of like a creative choice. So you could definitely take that and ignore that thought. I think that overall, just like the arrangement and the direction, I like it. I think it's dope. I think there's just room for a little more care and attention to all the like individual elements that are happening. You know, little things like small mixing choices. Like here, for example. Like the snare feels quite subdued. I think that it could probably come up in the mix a little bit. That hi-hat, I'm not 100% sure. It could be turned down a tiny bit. Little decisions like that. You know, I don't think there's anything major that is going to make some kind of groundbreaking difference in this remix. And then here, like, I'm not 100% sure. Obviously, there's some like foreshadowing happening, like switching it up to a more like UKG or like garage style rhythmic pattern, which is cool. But that high end, like it's like this. It sounds like a high passed snare or something, and it just feels a little funky. It feels like maybe just like a rim shot would be better there instead of that. But at the same time, like this is a transitional section, so it's supposed to lead into this, obviously. So yeah, not a super important detail, but something to think about, I guess. But yeah, really cool remix. Thanks for sharing. Appreciate it. How's the stream going? It's going good. It's going good. We have, I think, another 20 people or so to try to get through. 3 things in life are certain: death, taxes, and the snare sounding bad. Man, when snares sound good, though. Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you sharing. What's up, Joe Schmo? Or is it Joe Eskimo? Haywyre, note about this Joe person. They are AFK, but they gave me a link. Okay. Thank you for being the the messenger, the bridge. If you do not care that they're present, yeah, sure. Share it. Why not? Although, I wonder if we should try to get through people that are present first and then get to that later. What do you guys think about that? Because I feel like I'd rather get through people that are waiting to have their music heard rather than people that are not here. Yeah, thanks for helping out so much, Art Nerd, which, by the way, I should just give another shout out to all the regulars for helping so much over the last year with the stream. Such a pleasure. And I don't know if there's anyone that's done more work than Art Nerd when it comes to the Haywyre stream. So let's get a little applause for Art Nerd going in the chat. But yeah, okay. Let's move on to the next person then. Oh, Tenba style. Hopefully people aren't too. Hopefully there aren't too many AFK people. What's up, Otenba? What you got for us? We feeling candy, fluffy, fruity stuff or house stuff? I'm down with either. I'll let you make the call. But candy, fluff, fruity stuff is a hilarious sounding tongue twister. Say it 5 times really fast. Candy, fluff, fruity stuff. Candy, fluff, fruity stuff. Candy, fluff, fruity stuff. It's pretty hard. I'll give you a really dramatic entrance for your work in progress here. Nice chords. Very wholesome. very wholesome vibes. I love it. Very cutesy, very upbeat. I like it. I don't really know how to give good feedback on this, though, is my thing. I think like, so okay, let me try to big picture. The vibe is, you know, cutesy, feel good, wholesome, upbeat, four to the floor. I like it. Arrangement makes sense. You know, it's kind of like just consistently progressing and getting kind of like a little more euphoric as time goes by. And a lot of the sound design, like the synth sound selection, a lot of it checks out. It makes sense. It feels like it's all in the same kind of world, the same space. I think that maybe my biggest like high level critique is that it didn't ever feel like there was a particular moment or a feeling of arrival at a specific section. Maybe the closest we got to that is around here. And then up until that point, the track is just kind of like gradually building and building and building and changing and evolving. And it kind of, you know, if you were to think of, you know, how to produce and arrange songs in a more traditional sense, I think you try to think about the elements that are the most important or memorable about a song, and you find a way to produce around that, right? And when it comes to like the feeling of the song, I think you've done a great job at just kind of elaborating on that. But to me, what feels like the biggest melodic aspect, at least, is that there's kind of like this voice leading, this implied melody. I think, like, to me, I might be adding those notes. I think it's just, and then, but a little, like those little extra notes might be kind of nice. Either way, to me, that feels like the main melody of the song. And then there's a ton of like great synth soloing and stuff happening, and I like that as well. But it would just be nice to have a section where that is the center of attention, with lots of like production and energy behind it. But I might be hearing it differently than you are. Like to me that feels like the biggest the biggest kind of melodic motif in the song. So that's just, I think, my biggest kind of high level critique there. Other than that, I mean, yeah, sure, you could do some polishing here and there for certain things. But I don't know if it's worth really trying to nitpick every single little thing. I think it's better to just stay high level. That's kind of all I got for you, to be honest. Thank you so much for sharing with us. I'll work with it a little bit. There's a lot that can happen for sure. All right. Cool. Let's move on to the next person. Who else we got? Eidolon. All right, let's hear the half an hour song. Did you draw your profile picture, by the way? It looks funny. Is that you bald? Are you bald? My baldness is a work in progress. Just go to Turkey. All right. Half an hour. I mean, it's really hard making a track in half an hour. That's a good start, man. I don't know why you feel like you're kind of shooting yourself down. It's a good start. I like the groove. I think that the biggest pain point so far for me is just that violin, because it's hard to get nice articulations with a sound like that. I'm guessing it's a sample, not a sample library, like a VST or something. And I feel like when VSTs like that are kind of left out in the open and are kind of exposed, then it's tough. Gets kind of tough, because all the subtleties that can make a real recording feel so special are can end up lacking in VSTs. So there's all these like subtle articulation changes and harmonic changes that are happening in a real performance. Anyways, so that's the only thing that I noticed. I thought that was a good start. I also like the drums, by the way. Very different from what I normally hear from you, because it's got more of like a live acoustic vibe. Also, the melody is nice. You got a knack for writing good melodies. I don't know why, but for some reason that melody is... it's giving me like Ghibli vibes for some reason. I don't know why it's giving me like Ghibli vibes for some reason. Also, I know that that's not the exact melody you had. I'm just kind of approximating. Isn't that a Ghibli? Is that Totoro? Well, I think that's one of the OST, like sections of the OST for Totoro, right? Yeah? Okay, anyways, we're getting distracted. Well, you know, I would love to critique this more, give you more feedback, but there's actually not much more to say because you got a good vibe going here. It's obvious that it's early in the process of sketching, so there's a bajillion things you could be doing here. And I like where it's going so far. So keep working on it. I'm actually kind of curious. I'm curious if you keep the acoustic drums. I'm very curious, indeed. But yeah, thanks for sharing. It is Swam. No way. My OTT was over the top. Okay. Oh, wait, you're an FL Studio user. Maybe I already knew that and forgot. But anyways. All right, let's move on. What's up already? What you got? Dude, that photo of VR cracks me up. Also, thank you for all the awesome submissions over the last year, Eidolon. And everyone else, too, by the way. I don't know if some of y'all are still here today. Galaxy and Josta, I know a lot of you have been been sharing regular submissions for the Feeeeedback Fridays for the last year. So much appreciated. So much cool, so much talent out there, man. It's actually mind-blowing. I think you need to share a private link, by the way. Cool, let's try this one next. Oh, this one didn't work either. Okay, well, hold on. Third time's the charm, as the saying goes. Nope. You know how to share the private tracks? Well, you shared tracks before privately. You know how to do it, right? What's up, Bobby? How's it going? This is we're having some technical difficulties here. I'm heading out. Thanks for the feedback. Yeah, absolutely. I liked your track, Gotenba. Appreciate it. How are you? I'm doing well. How are you? We'll wait a little bit longer and see if our good and faithful already did it public. Okay, let's see. Can you share that? It might have provided a new link after making it public. Can you share that? I tried reloading it. It still didn't work. It's removed somehow. Sorry, this is just cracking me up. Delete everything on the link after the question mark or everything after the slash. Delete everything after the question mark. No, that didn't seem to work either. Or everything after the slash. Let's try that. No. Already, is it okay if we come back to you later? Is that all right? Yeah. I was just gonna suggest SoundCloud removed it. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. We'll come back to you already. What's up, Ohm Zone? All right, let's see what you got for us today. Yo, your photo looks so similar to Gamma's. What the? Or not Gamma. Was it Jamma? Where's that submission from earlier? There's a producer named Jamma from earlier today. I swear his profile photo looked so much like yours. Yeah, wait, look. What the hell? Are you guys related? That looks like it could be the same person. Your besties? Wait, are you actually? No way. Dude. Okay, that's kind of funny. Alright, let's check this out. Rise by Ohm Zone. track length 420. I see what you're doing. Cool. Well, I think there's a lot of good stuff going on here. Yeah, it's just like a classic chord progression. So I will say, like, from an arrangement standpoint, like, your song feels great. Like, you're just kind of exploring this tempo and this chord progression over the course of these 4 minutes and 20 seconds. Some great kind of like contrast and differences in these different sections and stuff. High level, I think that two big things stood out to me that I think could help with this track. One is that I feel like the mix is not quite there yet. So I think like there's a lot of mixing choices that could help you. And two, the other thing is it feels like there's room for a main melody. And with the chord progression like that, it could be really easy to have something to throw in there. You know, you got the G minor, F major, C major, and the world's your oyster, man. I mean, 3 chords like that, you could do so many different things. There's a ton of stuff you could do. So I think there's room to kind of like emphasize some kind of melody a bit more. Because most of the time it feels like you're just adding layers to the harmonic kind of outline versus like something that has a little bit more of a voice of its own. It's like something melodic that I think could really help help the track. If you want, it gives me like a little bit of an emancipator vibe. The track overall, it's got this, yeah, it's got a good energy to it. So, in terms of mix, I just feel like there's a lot of kind of like, just general or detailed choices that I would kind of try to address. So, for example. I think that most of the time when it comes to making electronic music, if you're just relying on a sub for something, you're missing out on a chance to add a little more character to a layer that's playing a really big role. And there's a lot of ways to spice up a sub, that doesn't have to be, really intense or really dramatic. But I definitely think that in this case, one, not only could it make your sub a bit more interesting, but two, also I think like in terms of the presence that your sub has in your mix right now, it's just adding like a ton of low end, and I feel like it'd be better if it had more of that mid range kind of stuff going on, mid range movement, and then toning that sub down. Would just give it a better feeling in the mix, because right now it's definitely like adding an excessive amount of low end, I think. And part of that is just like the perception of it potentially as well, because like if there is more if there were more mids to that sub, then it would probably feel a little bit different in the mix as well. I kind of like that Jack U-esque snare, by the way. It's cool. I don't know why people don't use snares like that very often. They're kind of hard to take advantage of, I guess. And I think like your drums are often very gentle, which I think is definitely intentional to a degree. Like I understand like the production is kind of like got this like uplifting, feel good kind of energy to it, and so I understand not wanting to have like the typical super hard hitting EDM drums, but you know, in a section like this, you have a pretty intense subs, just like kind of like playing low ends down there, and the kick relative to that is very small. So, you know, one of the things I try to visualize when like mixing is like when you have elements that are kind of occupying the same frequency range, and you know, let's say in this case, you know, you've got like a kick drum and a sub, and they're both kind of occupying that low end. You want if the kick is normally, you want the kick to be side chaining the sub, and so you know you want the degree to which it's side chaining to feel like it's proportionate to the volume of that sound and the presence of that sound. And drums are a huge part of songs, right? So those are usually very forward in the mix. So what I'm saying is, it feels like the kick relative to the sub could definitely come up a bit and could potentially sidechain it some more. But really, first and foremost, the kick just needs to become a bit louder, I think, for this section. But yeah, there's all these like little mixing decisions like that I think could help the track a lot. I think the emotion and the feeling is there, and you're doing a great job of kind of taking the listener on a journey. I just think that maybe from a production standpoint, you could kind of make some improvements. So like, you know, mixing wise. And then melodically, I do feel like there's room for a main melody somewhere. But yeah, I definitely appreciate what you're going for here. It's giving me also like a little bit of a, not just Emancipator, but kind of like Pretty Lights-ish vibes. It's got this old school electronic music flavor that you don't hear much. So it's cool, man. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, let's move on to the next person. Let's see what else we got. Quara Portra. That's an interesting name. Thanks for the feedback. Yeah, 100%. Quara might be AFK. Okay, let's move on to the next person. I think Quara is AFK. What's up, Avi? People join faster than we can go through them. Yeah, exactly. I'm just gonna keep going for a little bit, and we'll see how much we can get through.
Je veux la vue sur les palmiers d'or. Je veux la vue sur un panier Dior. On bat les couilles de la palme d'or.
Yo, Kidia, thanks for the follow.
Elle veut qu'on fuck, je lui dis let's go. S'il te plaît, baby, me donne pas le mort. Tu peux connaître tous les métaux. Tu connaîtras pas les causes de mort.
Alchemy, let me check real quick if you're in the raffle.
Ces pédos font de la warfare musique. Je sais c'est fantastique, y'a trop de trous de balles ici.
Yep, you're still there.
Je lâcherai tous les missiles, comme les feux sur Palestine. J'ai les yeux grands ouverts sur un monde qui dort.
Can I ask where the vocals are from?
Moi j'encaisse les coups, je reviens encore. Chaque nuit je compte mes cicatrices dehors. Le game est sale mais je reste en or. J'ai vu du trave tomber sans tambour ni trompette. On trinque à leur mémoire, on lève nos verres forts. La rue m'a tout appris, j'ai pas eu de maître. Fus sur les palmiers, on est loin de tout. Le monde peut te brûler, on s'en fout. Toi et moi sur
Yeah, Pearlian, that's part of the reason why I was asking.
jusqu'au bout.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Fus sur les palmiers, c'est notre rendez-vous. Le soleil se couche, on refait le monde en tout. Fus sur les palmiers, c'est tout ce qu'on veut.
Nice, man. What language is that? Yeah, it's a cool tune. I feel like some of the I'm trying to think about how to approach feedback here. Oh, it's French? Okay, weird. Yeah, I feel like to me it feels like the mix is struggling a little bit. Not in some kind of like extremely obvious way or anything. Like obviously you're keeping the vocals at the forefront when they are present, which is I think that tends to be the way to go for especially for something like poppy and dancey like this. One thing that I think can be hard to pull off is, you know, in electronic music, obviously you're going to be like, you're kind of limiting your stuff pretty aggressively. You're pushing the volume. You want, you know, those lufts to be at 20 bajillion or whatever. And I think that one thing that becomes really hard when you're doing that is how to keep elements from kind of from becoming inconsistent as certain sounds are popping in and out and are competing with each other in different ways at different times. It can become harder and harder for elements to kind of like keep a particular presence in the mix. You know, like a clap will seem like it's getting quieter and seem like it's getting louder because of when it's competing with different elements and that kind of stuff. So I'm hearing some things like that happening in the mix, which is, I think, causing like a little bit of maybe unwanted variation in the presence of certain sounds. But some of that sound design is cool here. I like this little thing. I like that. I like that. That's cool. It's definitely got like a extremely kind of poppy vibe going here. It sounds at times like the sub is kind of like maybe. I would try to isolate the low end a little bit and try to see whether the side chain settings are right. At times it sounds like maybe the kick is kind of conflicting with that low end a little bit, but oh, rendezvous, I should have known it was French from that alone. One thought I had for this section is that maybe you have something more like a rolling sub that's kind of like sitting underneath versus kind of like the 808 stuff works quite well for this kind of like I don't know, like double time trap almost kind of section. I feel like the 808s work well there, but for something like a little bit more 4 to the floor, it could be kind of cool to have maybe like some like more sustained low end, like a roller bass or something like that. I don't know, just some food for thought. But yeah, overall it feels like a fun kind of poppy EDM like idea with some pretty quick switch ups here, going from this to then 4 to the floor into this. There's like a lot of variation and switch ups and stuff, so keeps the listener's attention and such. Yeah, so thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. Cool. Let's move on and see what else we got working with. What we're working with today. I think I got like a couple more in me, y'all. I'm sorry. I am so exhausted today. But what's up, Mooey? What you got for us? Might be AFK. Let's move on to the next person. What's up, Irialis? Might be another AFK person. We'll see. Ready? Actually, if you have your link ready, we'll listen to yours. I didn't mean to. Okay, Irialis might be AFK as well, so it's all good. Let's check this one out. See what we got. Already. I can't tell if you're doing this on purpose or it's all good. It's all good. It's funny. It's funny. But yeah, link permissions. I can't access it. Just burn it to a CD and ship it to. Dude, I did it. Okay, hold on. Let me go back. Oh my god. Wait. All right, we're finally listening to it. Holy shit. That is a sub. My ears are being massaged by this sub. I wonder why tinnitus tends to happen in higher frequencies and not in lowers or lower ones. Cool. It's a good idea. I like the vibe. You know, I'm always down with a little bit of kind of like more chill drum and bass, jungle, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, this felt more like drum and bass to me. The sub is quite loud, and it's very static. So that those things in combination makes it something worth addressing. And you know, especially once you have like the drums going, they sound very beefy. So it's like you can definitely get away with some more processing on that sub. You know, just get some movement going. Like throw some distortion on there, get some notch filters, multi-band, compress it, and then you know just create a bunch of different weird movements and stuff, and try to find things that give it a little more character. And make it feel less static, and it definitely turned down the low end a bit as well. I would also say that like for a tune like this, it does feel a little bit on the chill side, so I would try to tame those drums a little bit. You know, some like multi-band like transient shaping and like careful EQing and compression could kind of like tame them a bit probably. Or just like different sound selection as well. Because there's nothing wrong with the pattern. It's just like I think the sounds themselves feel like they're better suited for something that's more aggressive sounding than this, in my opinion. But yeah, it's a cool tune, man. I like a lot of the like ethereal pads going on. It's nice. The little zaps. It's cool. Thank you for sharing. Irialis, yeah. Go ahead and share. Isn't tinnitus caused by the hairs in the ear canal being damaged and ringing sympathetically with like micro muscle spasms? Oh, is that what it is? I always heard that that ringing sound is the sound of your ability to hear those frequencies dying off, essentially, which is a very unscientific way of describing tinnitus. But that's interesting. All right, let's check out this submission from Irialos. What you got? Oh, wait. Didn't you have a different username, or am I tripping? Because I definitely know you've submitted some tracks on the stream before. Thanks already. Good to see you. I like the track so far. I like those perks. Reminds me of Sorrow a little bit. Sorrow's got some really great tunes. nice, man. It's feels like a very enjoyable listen. Kind of like a laid back vibe. Emphasis more so on kind of like the percussion and kind of like the feeling of the chord progression and a lot of the like pads, effects, and that kind of stuff. It's nice. It's a nice tune, man. I think like tracks like this, there's often a little bit less to say, to be honest, because like unless you have something that's like super out of place, it's kind of like yeah, I don't know. I think there's certain genres where it's like if you just, I don't know. There's nothing that felt really out of place, and there's nothing that really bothered me or felt like it didn't make sense in the track. So it's kind of working as it is, and it's kind of at your discretion. You know how much stuff do you want to give people to listen to, what you want them to feel, and I'm getting kind of like this more laid back, kind of like emotional, minimalistic vibe from it. And obviously that's very intentional. So there's not a ton to really critique. I like the kick drum a lot, by the way. It actually, for some reason, I kept picturing somebody like slamming their hand on a mattress. That's kind of what it sounds like to me. You know that sound like when you really like you smack a mattress or like some kind of like big floofy fabric and it makes that sound. But it's really satisfying. It's got like a little bit of saturation and grit to it, even though it's gentle at the same time. So it's nice. I don't know if you know Sorrow, but I think he might be a cool reference point. I haven't been listening to his stuff in some time, but like 10 years ago, I remember this was the exact kind of stuff that he was known for and crushing. So let me see if he's still up to the same stuff now, or... So yeah, I think like this might be a good reference point for you because he does a lot of like work in this space where it feels like there's some, it's like spacey. But there's still like some like beefiness in the drums, like lots of cool percussive little ear candy and ethereal washed out pads and samples and stuff. I don't know. If you don't know him, check him out. Oh, I do know of Sour. I haven't listened to much of his stuff. Yeah, totally fair. I haven't listened to his stuff in a long time, but either way, I just thought that could be a cool reference point. Oh my gosh, y'all. I am really sorry, but I thought I would be able to make it through everyone today, and I'm really tired. I might have to like take a nap or something. Not even the caffeine could save me today. But I appreciate you guys so much. You guys, there's so much talent out there. You guys are amazing. Seriously. Task failed successfully, yeah. Yeah, sorry Perillian, and sorry 7 is it 7DB or 7BM, sorry. Is there another artist named 7DB, or am I tripping? Well, there's 7 Minutes Dead. Anyways. Well, that's going to be it for me for today, y'all. I'm going to take a breather, but thank you so much for sharing your tunes, not just today, but over the last year. It's been a pleasure listening to so many of the submissions, and I hope that hopefully I said a few things here and there that were actually useful or sparked some thinking or whatever. Who wants to do the 200 break encounter? Oh snap! Who's gonna be? No, I don't want to. I'm not gonna take that away. Someone else got to do it. Someone else got to do it. Who's gonna pull the trigger? All right. Beautiful. It was meant to be. Okay, y'all. Take care, and I'll see you tomorrow. If you want to join, I'll be live for a little bit, starting at 12 p.m. And that'll be the end of season 4. So appreciate y'all. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for all the awesome submissions today and over the last year. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.